So what I talked about on the stage was, in a sentence, I was trying to get across a very simple message, but that keeps being forgotten now and then as all these new technologies are coming up, which is that strategy comes first, right? So first thing one should figure out when navigating this data economy space is how can I establish meaningful interactions and participation from a user base rather than start thinking about data first or technology first. Right, so what you gain by doing that is that you think about how to establish a competitive advantage, which is quite difficult to do in this data economy because it's dominated by these big players, the Googles and the Facebooks of this world. And I was trying to convey a message of establishing a competitive advantage by thinking about how you can meaningfully interact with participants, with users. And by doing that, for instance, by creating a platform or by creating an online community, you can actually co-create data with your customers rather than collecting data about them, which establishes a completely different dynamic and completely different value proposition for your business. The way you engage your customers or your users and allow them to co-create is actually easier than one might think. It again starts with having a clear idea of what you want to offer them, and the best way to do it is again offer them a interactive, meaningful experience, right? So they become part of your business. So that could be very simple. The example I brought up in the presentation is patients like me, and they offer benefits to the users straight away. They're explicit and direct in the sense of giving the patients or the users a tool that allows them to self-manage themselves. So then in return, they give the data to the platform, and the platform helps them in return, right? Which is again, one way of bringing your users on board in comparison to other ways of doing it, like for instance, spying on your users or stalking them in one way or another. So Denmark is well positioned in this regard, although maybe there could be a bit more enthusiasm about it, a bit more confidence about doing that. It is particularly well positioned because it is quite advanced in terms of being an information society, right? There is very little fear of automation. People feel very prepared to deal with the challenges of automation, artificial intelligence. For instance, and there is the know-how, right? So for instance, we at CBS, we are educating the new generation of managers who will be able to manage organizations in this digital environment. So all the things are there. What I think could be a challenge is though then to join up in terms of developing political alliances, so we can also break up this huge quasi-monopolies, right, like Facebook, Amazon and Google. This can be used by well-established companies in a variety of ways. In fact, to some degree, well-established companies may have an advantage because they already have a customer base. Yeah, and then you just have to figure out how you can engage them in different ways than you already have. A very good example is Lego Ideas, right? Well-established company that invites its users to co-create products, and that is, data, right? So usually when we think about data, we think about zeros and ones and big data collected via the internet, on Facebook and this sort of stuff. But data can be a whole variety of different things. One of them is, for instance, having your users develop a prototype for you and then have your users vote on the prototypes. And these are explicit signals given to you from your user base that, okay, this product is interesting, this product is not so interesting, right? So it should make a difference whether you're an incumbent or an established organization or a startup. The tools may be different and your approaches may be different, but basically I don't think that one has better chances over the other. So what I would recommend marketeers is to go back to what you're good at, which is marketing, rather than how should I put it? Rather than trying to rely too much on this big data hype. Is have a clear message, come up with a way that entices users to engage with your company in an open and interactive and meaningful way by offering them something in return, right? So one way could be to establish a platform. For instance, Børsen could invite their readers onto a platform and connect them with, I don't know, CEOs or with other people who may be interested in interacting, for instance, with young students. Yeah? So by doing that, you already establish a platform, and then when you nurture that platform, hopefully, and here's where we don't really have any tools available, you know, we don't know how to then reach this critical mass, but once this critical mass is reached, then one side attracts the other, and then you have a meaningful interaction, and you as Børsen then can profit from these explicit signals that you get from these people interacting from one another. They can then vote for you, they can run a prediction market, for instance, you can crowdsource, you can ask them for their opinion, and so on and so forth.